I never thought a broken down day would change my entire life. I was just a black single dad, trying to get through another exhausting work shift, my hands still covered in grease, my mind already thinking about my son waiting at home. Then it happened. While cleaning up after finishing a repair job at a luxury office building, I found something on the ground. A phone. I picked it up, planning to return it like I always do. But when the screen lit up, my heart stopped. It was the CEO's phone. The woman everyone in the city feared. The woman who treated people like they were beneath her. My fingers almost gave it back immediately, until a notification popped up, and I saw something I was never supposed to see. Her lock screen photo. My breath froze, because staring back at me from that screen was a high school picture of me, smiling, young, happy. A version of me I had completely forgotten. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was the caption she had written under it. Something that made my hands shake and made me realize this wasn't just a coincidence. This was personal. My name is Marcus Reed, and I've learned one thing in life the hard way. Some days start ordinary, but end up rewriting your entire reality. That morning felt like every other exhausting day. I woke up before sunrise, made breakfast for my son Elijah, and packed his school bag while he sat at the kitchen table drawing little machines and airplanes like he always does. He's 8 years old, full of imagination, and the only reason I keep pushing forward, no matter how hard life gets. "Dad, you coming straight home today?" he asked, chewing on toast. I forced a smile. "As soon as I finish work, buddy." He nodded like he believed me. Kids always do. But I didn't know that day wasn't going to end like I promised. I dropped him at school and headed to my first job, a luxury corporate building downtown. Rich people, glass walls, expensive cars, and employees who looked at me like I didn't belong there. I was just the mechanic they called when their high-end vehicles stopped working. A black single dad in a grease-stained uniform, trying to survive one repair at a time. That day, I was assigned to fix a luxury CEO's vehicle in the underground parking garage. The job wasn't difficult, just time-consuming, a sensor issue, nothing serious. I finished it faster than expected, cleaned my tools, and headed toward the elevator. That's when everything changed. As I walked through the sleek marble hallway, I saw something lying near a seating area, a phone. Expensive, modern, probably worth more than my entire monthly income. At first I ignored it. People like me don't usually touch things like that. One wrong move, and suddenly you're accused of theft. But then it buzzed. Once, twice. Someone was calling it repeatedly. I sighed and picked it up. "All right, let's return this." I was about to walk to the reception desk when the screen lit up, and I froze. Incoming call stopped. Lock screen appeared. It was a woman. Not just any woman. The CEO of the building. I recognized her instantly from the glass office upstairs. The kind of woman who walked like the world belonged to her. Cold eyes, sharp voice, expensive presence. I stared at the phone for a second longer than I should have. Then I made my decision. I was going to return it personally. I took the elevator up to the top floor. Every level I passed reminded me of the gap between people like her and people like me. Glass offices, confident laughter, people in suits talking about millions like it was nothing. When I reached the executive floor, everything went silent. Receptionists looked up. Security watched me closely. One man stepped forward. "Can I help you?" "I found a phone," I said calmly. "It belongs to your CEO." He raised an eyebrow, but took it from me anyway. "Wait here." Minutes passed, too many. I stood there, holding my tool bag, feeling like I didn't belong in that polished world. Then the elevator doors opened. She walked out, and I understood immediately why people listened when she spoke. Elegant, controlled, expensive suit, perfect posture, cold expression. Her eyes locked onto me. "You found it?" I nodded and handed over the phone. She checked it quickly, almost mechanically, as if it was replaceable. "Thanks," she said flatly. No warmth, no gratitude, just a transaction. She turned to leave. That should have been it. I should have gone back downstairs, back to my normal life. But then her phone lit up again in her hand. A notification. She glanced at it, and something changed in her face. Not a lot, but enough for me to notice. Her fingers tightened slightly around the phone. She looked at me again, longer this time, like she was seeing something I couldn't understand. Then she turned away and walked into her office. I exhaled and headed back to the elevator. But just as I pressed the button, a security guard stopped me. "Sir, hold on." My stomach tightened. "What's wrong?" He hesitated. "The CEO wants to see you again." My mind went blank for a second. Did I do something wrong? He shook his head. "No idea." She just said, urgently. That word didn't sit right with me. Urgently. I followed him back upstairs. Again, this time, the office felt different, heavier. When I stepped inside, she was standing near her desk, phone in hand, screen still glowing. She didn't speak immediately, neither did I. Then she finally looked up, and what she said next made my entire body go still. "Where did you go to high school?" I blinked. "What?" She walked closer. Not aggressively, carefully, like she was trying to confirm something in her mind. "Answer the question." I frowned. "Why?" Her eyes flicked down to her phone, then back to me. And that's when I noticed something strange. Her lock screen was visible again. A photo, not of her, not of family, not of a celebrity. It was a school picture. A teenage boy, smiling, confident, wearing a simple uniform, and I felt my stomach drop, because I knew that face. It was me, my younger self, from high school. I hadn't seen that photo in years, not since everything in my life fell apart. My voice came out quieter than I expected. "That's me." She didn't react right away. Instead, she slowly unlocked the phone and turned the screen slightly toward me. Under the photo, there was a caption, written in her notes. Something personal, something impossible. And when I read it, I felt like the floor disappeared beneath me. Because it wasn't just my photo on her phone. It was connected to a past I had completely buried. And somehow, this CEO knew me from a life I thought no one remembered. I stared at the phone in her hand, my mind refusing to accept what I was seeing. My own high school photo on the lock screen of a billionaire CEO. That kind of thing doesn't happen in real life, at least not in mine. I swallowed hard. "What is this?" I asked quietly. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she studied my face like she was comparing two versions of the same person, one standing in front of her and one frozen in time inside her phone. Then she spoke. "You really don't remember me?" That question hit me harder than anything else. I frowned. "I don't know you." Her expression tightened, like she didn't believe me or didn't want to accept it. She turned the phone fully toward me again. The image of my younger self was still there, smiling, alive, unbroken. Then she tilted the screen slightly and showed me something else, a name under the photo. And suddenly, something inside my memory shifted. Not fully, just a crack, a feeling, a classroom, a school hallway, rain outside a school gate. I blinked. "No," I whispered. "That can't be." Her voice softened slightly. "You're Marcus Reed. You were top of your engineering class. Everyone called you the genius kid who could fix anything." My throat went dry. She was right. But I didn't like where this was going, because that version of me didn't exist anymore. I had buried him. Life buried him. Bills buried him. Loss buried him. "I think you've got the wrong person," I said quickly. But she shook her head. "No, I've been looking for you for years." The room suddenly felt too small, too quiet, too heavy. I took a step back. "Why would you look for me?" That's when her expression changed completely. The CEO mask cracked. For the first time since I met her, She didn't look powerful. She looked emotional. "You saved my life," she said. I froze. "What?" She opened the phone again and scrolled through something. Old notes, old records, old memories. "I was in your school," she continued. "I was nobody, quiet, always alone. You used to sit next to me in physics class." I searched my memory. Faint images surfaced. A girl sitting in the corner, always reading, always alone. "But I still didn't understand," she continued. "One day, I fainted during exams. No one cared. No one stopped. Everyone just walked past me." Her voice shook slightly. "But you didn't." I felt something tighten in my chest. "You carried me to the nurse's office," she said. "You stayed until I woke up. You even skipped your test." I remembered that day, vaguely. Not the importance of it, just the act. Anyone would have done it, or so I thought. She stepped closer. "I never forgot you after that." Silence. Heavy silence. Then she said something that changed everything. "My father was a factory worker back then. We were poor, really poor. I worked hard to survive school. After graduation, I lost track of you." She looked down for a moment, "And then I built everything, just so I could find you again." My mind struggled to process her words. "You built a company to find me?" She nodded. "Yes." I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. "This doesn't make sense," I said. "People don't do that." She gave a small, sad smile. "You're right. Normal people don't." Another silence fell between us. Then she asked the question again, softer this time. "Where did you go after school?" I hesitated. That part of my life wasn't something I liked revisiting. "I had responsibilities," I said carefully. "Life happened." She studied me. "You disappeared after your mother's illness, right?" My jaw tightened. "How do you know that?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked to her desk and pulled out a file, a thick one, old records. "My company has been tracking people from our past," she said. "Not for control, for reconnection." She placed the file in front of me. My name was on it, Marcus Reed. Everything. School records, scholarship offers, engineering competitions. And then, nothing after a certain year, like my life just stopped. "I tried to find you," she said, "but you vanished completely." I felt uncomfortable, exposed, like someone had opened a door I had sealed shut years ago. "I didn't vanish," I said quietly. "I survived." That word changed her expression again. She looked at me differently now. Not like a CEO, not like a boss, but like someone trying to understand pain they had never experienced. "Survived how?" she asked. I hesitated, then finally answered. "Life doesn't always give you choices. My wife got sick, bills came. Everything I planned disappeared." Her eyes softened. "And now you fix cars." I nodded. "I fix whatever keeps food on the table." She looked away for a moment, like she was processing something heavy. Then she said something unexpected. "You should not be fixing cars." I gave a small laugh. "Tell that to my bank account." But she didn't smile. Instead, she walked back to me and held up the phone again. "My father will want to see you." That statement didn't feel casual. It felt serious, very serious. "Why?" I asked. She hesitated, then said the words that made my stomach drop again. "Because the reason I became CEO started with you." Her words hung in the air like a warning. "Because the reason I became CEO started with you." I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just stared at her, trying to understand how my life had suddenly turned into something I couldn't recognize. The same man who fixed broken engines for a living was now standing in the middle of a billionaire's office being told he was part of her past. Finally, I asked quietly, "What does that even mean?" She took a slow breath, like she had been holding this story inside for years. Then she turned away and walked toward the glass window of her office. Outside, the city moved like nothing unusual was happening. People rushing, cars honking, lives continuing normally. But inside that room, nothing felt normal anymore. When I was in school, she began, I was invisible. Not poor in money, poor in everything that matters. No friends, no confidence, no voice. She paused. And then there was you. I frowned slightly. She turned back to me. You didn't treat me like I was invisible. Her voice softened. You were the only one who ever spoke to me like I mattered. Something inside my chest tightened. I remembered sitting in that classroom years ago. I remembered a quiet girl in the corner, always alone, always writing in her notebook. But I never thought it meant anything. I thought it was just being kind. She continued. You used to help me understand engineering problems. You explained things when teachers ignored me. You even shared your notes with me when I failed a test. She smiled faintly. And you never asked for anything in return. I looked away, because I didn't know what to say. Back then, I was just a student trying to survive school like everyone else. I didn't think I was changing anyone's life. She stepped closer. After graduation, my life changed completely. My father started a small business. I worked every day, nights, weekends. I studied everything I could about systems, technology, management. Her eyes hardened slightly. But I never forgot the person who made me believe I was not useless. Silence again. Heavy silence. Then she said it. You were that person. I shook my head slightly. This is too much, I said. I didn't do anything special. Her expression sharpened immediately. That's exactly what makes it special. She walked back to her desk and picked up a framed document. It was an old competition certificate. My name was on it. Engineering award. High school level. I tracked every achievement you had, she said. Then one day, you disappeared. I felt uncomfortable again, like the walls were closing in. I didn't disappear, I said. I had to take care of my family. Her expression changed instantly. Your wife. I nodded. She got sick. Everything stopped after that. For the first time, her confident CEO voice softened completely. I didn't know. I shrugged slightly. Most people don't. She looked down at the desk, then said something quietly. If I had found you earlier, your life would not look like this now. That sentence hit differently. I took a step forward. No, I said firmly. Don't do that. She looked up. What? Don't rewrite my life like it was wasted. She went silent. I continued. I didn't fail because I became a mechanic. I survived because I had to. There's a difference. Her eyes stayed on me, like she was trying to understand something she had never been taught. Just then, the office door opened again. A man walked in, older, strict, powerful presence. Security followed behind him. The CEO straightened immediately. Dad. So this was him, Charles Whitmore, the billionaire behind the empire. He didn't look at her first. His eyes went straight to me. Long pause. Then he said one word. So it's true. I frowned. What is? He stepped closer slowly. I always wondered where the boy from that school went. My chest tightened. Because now it wasn't just her. Now it was him, too. What boy? I asked. Charles Whitmore stopped in front of me and said something that changed everything again. The boy whose ideas built half of my company. The room went completely silent the moment Charles Whitmore finished his sentence. The boy whose ideas built half of my company. I felt my chest tighten. My mind refused to accept what I was hearing. Ideas, company, half. I slowly shook my head. You're mistaken, I said firmly. I'm just a mechanic. Charles Whitmore didn't react immediately. He just stared at me with an expression that looked like he had been waiting a very long time for this moment. Then he slowly walked toward his desk and opened a locked drawer. From inside, he pulled out an old folder, worn, yellowed, carefully preserved. He placed it on the table between us. This, he said quietly, is not a mistake. The CEO stepped closer, confused now, her confidence fading. Dad, what is this? He didn't answer her. His eyes stayed on me. "This company didn't start the way people think it did," he said. "It didn't begin with investors or board meetings." He tapped the folder. "It started with school projects, high school competitions, and one student who solved problems adults couldn't even understand." My heart started beating faster, because I didn't like where this was going. Charles opened the folder. Inside were old papers, designs, diagrams, engineering models, my handwriting, my name, Marcus Reed. I stepped back instinctively. "No," I whispered. "That's not possible." The CEO looked over my shoulder and froze. She saw it too. Her voice broke slightly. "These are your designs?" I didn't answer, because I couldn't. Charles nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. "Every system prototype here was created by him, before he even finished school." He turned a page. "This one, optimized logistics routing. It reduced delivery costs by 42%. Another page. This one, predictive maintenance systems. We still use a version of it today." The room felt like it was spinning. I had no idea any of this still existed. I had no idea anyone cared. Charles closed the folder gently. "When I met Marcus years ago, I was building a small tech division," he said. "I had money, but no direction." He looked at me. He gave me direction. The CEO stepped forward. "But why is he fixing cars now?" Her voice carried disbelief, confusion, something almost like fear. Charles turned to her. "Because life doesn't care about potential," he said. "It cares about survival." Silence fell again, heavy, real. Then Charles walked closer to me. "After your wife got sick," he said softly, "you disappeared completely. I tried to find you. I sent people, letters, calls." He shook his head. "But you were gone." I lowered my eyes. "I had no time for anything else," I said quietly. "I had a child to raise." For a moment, no one spoke. Even the CEO looked different now, less arrogant, more human. Charles exhaled deeply. "Marcus," he said, "do you know what happens to people like you when the world loses them?" I didn't respond. He answered himself. "They get forgotten." That word hit harder than anything else. "Forgotten," he continued. "But I never forgot you." He turned toward the CEO, and neither did she. The CEO's eyes widened slightly. "What do you mean?" Charles looked at her. "Tell him." She hesitated. For the first time, she looked unsure of herself. Then she turned toward me. "I started the company research program," she said quietly, "to find people who influenced early innovations, people who disappeared before they got credit." She swallowed. "And your name kept appearing in old records." My throat tightened. "I didn't know what happened to you," she continued, "but I knew I needed to find you." I frowned. "Why?" Her voice softened. "Because everything I built it on lessons I learned from you." Silence again, but this one felt different, less heavy, more emotional. She stepped closer. "I wasn't lying when I said I recognized you," she said. "That photo, I kept it because it reminded me of the only person who ever made me believe I wasn't invisible." My mind struggled to process everything. The CEO, her father, my old designs, my past self. It all felt unreal. Charles placed both hands on the table. "Marcus," he said, "I didn't bring you here just to give you money." I looked up. He continued, "I brought you here because this company is losing its direction, and the only person who ever gave it direction is standing in front of me." The CEO looked at him quickly. "Dad," he raised his hand. "No." Then he looked at me again. "I want you to return." The room froze. Even I didn't respond. He continued, "Not as an employee, not as a consultant." He paused. "As a partner." The word landed like thunder. The CEO turned toward him. "What?" Charles nodded. "You don't understand," he said. "This man doesn't just repair engines. He designs systems that built industries. I built this company with his mind without even realizing it." He looked at me directly. and I owe him more than money. I stepped back again. This is too much, I said quietly. I fix cars. I take care of my son. That's my life now. The CEO stepped forward suddenly. Marcus, she said softly, you don't belong under cars anymore. Her voice wasn't arrogant now. It was honest, for the first time. You belong here. I looked at her, then at Charles, then at the folder. Then I thought about my son, about the life I built, about the life I left behind. And for the first time in years, I didn't know what the right answer was. Charles pushed the folder closer to me. Just think about it, he said. But before I could respond, my phone rang. I looked at the screen. It was my son's school number. And in that moment, everything was about to change again.